This presentation offers a suggested framework for designing energy efficiency programs for community choice aggregation agencies in California. The premise is to help CCAs develop programs to meet the aggressive greenhouse gas reduction goals set by the state. In 2006, the California legislature passed Assembly Bill 32, committing the state to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 1990 levels of 431 million tons of CO2 per year by the year 2020. In addition to this, executive orders issued by California governors target a reduction of greenhouse gases to a level 80% below the year 1990 level by the year 2050. In 2015, Governor Brown called for an aggressive interim target of a 50% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2030. Sonoma County, California is the home of the Community Choice Aggregation Agency, Sonoma Clean Power. CCA utility companies like Sonoma Clean Power offer a promising path for developing renewable energy and obtaining energy efficiency savings for California consumers. Sonoma Clean Power and Sonoma County face challenges typical of other counties in California for reaching greenhouse gas reduction goals. This slide shows the main sources of human-caused greenhouse gas emissions in Sonoma County. Notice that transportation comprises the largest percentage of greenhouse gas emissions in the county. More than 90% of these transportation emissions are from light-duty vehicles. Emissions from burning natural gas in residences and businesses comprise the second major emissions factor, shown here in dark blue. The third major factor is comprised of the generation of electricity consumed in Sonoma County at its upstream sources. This refers to fossil fuels burned at electricity generation plants. Recognizing the central role of transportation as an emitter of greenhouse gases, the California Energy Commission, in its most recent energy policy report, focuses on the critical need to reduce transportation-sourced emissions. The CEC's report stated that meeting California's climate, air quality, and energy goals requires transformation of the transportation sector. The need to radically reduce transportation greenhouse gas sources is also confirmed in a paper published in 2015 by the Lawrence Berkeley National Labs. In that paper, the lead author, Dr. Jeff Greenblatt, lists an analysis of the specific sources of carbon emissions in the state. The details of this report can guide policies that are most effective in reducing greenhouse gases. This model and its accompanying spreadsheet is called CalGAPS. Using the CalGAPS model, Dr. Greenblatt's paper provides 4 scenarios for greenhouse gas reduction policies and the predicted results of their implementation in California. The results of the 4 different scenarios are shown on this chart. The most far-reaching greenhouse gas reduction policies, here labeled S3, still do not reach greenhouse gas reduction targets for the year 2050. However, the targets set for the number of deployed zero-emission vehicles in these scenarios are not aggressive. This is due to predicted slow adoption of fully electric vehicles. Governor Brown's plans projected that only 6% of vehicles would be zero-emission type by the year 2025. This points to the need for aggressive support of electric plug-in vehicle adoption. This chart illustrates the wide range of greenhouse gas sources covered in the Lawrence Labs paper. The CalGAPS spreadsheet that accompanies this should help guide policy and provide the basis for energy efficiency measures at Sonoma Clean Power and other California CCA agencies. The Lawrence Berkeley Labs study, the California Energy Commission report, and data from other research groups points to the need for energy programs that reduce greenhouse gases by focusing on 3 main goals. The 3 goals are electrification of fossil fuel use in transport, homes, and commercial enterprises, the expansion of renewable energy portfolios, and the adoption of general efficiency building standards and technologies. Electrification of vehicles is primary. This should be done as part of a larger strategy with other government agencies to expand mass transit. In this illustration, the Lawrence Berkeley Labs paper lists extensive benefits from moving to zero-emission vehicles and adopting other transportation strategies. Sonoma Clean Power and other CCAs should consider incentivizing a reduction in vehicle emissions with 2 or possibly 3 consumer incentive programs. The 3 programs would be 1. Incentivizing zero-emission vehicle purchases by subsidizing night vehicle charging. 2. Increase the number of available charging stations for plug-in vehicles. And 3. As an alternative, offer direct subsidies for plug-in vehicle purchases. All of these programs could be flexibly and conservatively designed with year-to-year milestones and exit points. Their purpose is to increase plug-in vehicle numbers until advances in battery technologies make plug-in vehicles more price competitive with gas and diesel-powered vehicles. With respect to the electrification of homes and businesses, the replacement of natural gas furnaces and appliances is an important policy. 3 separate incentives could be offered to this end. They are 1. Incentivizing replacement of natural gas furnaces and air conditioning with electricity-powered technology. 2. Replacement of natural gas water heaters with electric water heaters, especially heat pump-style water heaters. And 3. Incentivizing adoption of high-efficiency electric appliances to replace their natural gas equivalents and avoid subsidies for the use of natural gas. The key goal that complements such electrification measures is to incentivize an ever-expanding renewable energy supply portfolio. This allows the primary goal of electrification of transport and other sectors to lead to a rapid reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Thus, a well-designed incentive program for renewable energy projects is one of the 3 legs of the tripod for successful CCA public programs. The third goal addresses across-the-board improvements in energy conservation and efficiency in building and household technologies. Many models already exist for designing programs to meet this end. For example, the American Council for an Energy-Efficient Economy, whose website address is shown here, provides guidelines and standards for all types of the latest in energy-efficient home and commercial standards and technologies. Other large and detailed models exist. One is calmac.org, an online database of standards in California. Another is the Bonneville Regional Technical Forum. The only chance of meeting state targets for greenhouse gas reductions is to aggressively pursue improvements in the 3 goals discussed here. The state emissions reduction goal for the year 2050 will compel Sonoma Clean Power and other CCA agencies to devise new and imaginative programs. I'll now turn to more detailed suggestions about how the most critical of these programs could be designed. A well-designed program to increase the number of plug-in vehicles on the road is primary. This chart shows both national and California plug-in electric vehicle sales over the last 4 years. Notice the rapid annual growth rate shown at the right. The federal government, following California's leadership, has implemented corporate average fuel economy standards to improve overall vehicle fuel efficiency. This chart shows projected vehicle emissions in Sonoma County from 1990 to 2025 under the new fuel efficiency standards. Notice that emissions in 2020 far exceed the earlier state proposed target of meeting 1990 level emissions by that year. Sonoma Clean Power should consider subsidizing nighttime charging of zero-emission vehicles for a 3 to 5 year period. An aggressive program that subsidizes or partially subsidizes night charging for the equivalent of 12,000 miles a year per plug-in vehicle is warranted. This program could be adopted in steps in order to gauge results. The goal is a steep decline in transportation emissions that would be in line with policy goals for the years 2030 and 2050. It is important to understand that EV charging subsidies is part of a larger transportation greenhouse gas reduction strategy that must move to enhance public transportation and other efficiencies of scale. CCAs like Sonoma Clean Power should also incentivize electric vehicle adoption by supporting more vehicle chargers in public areas and workplaces. Priority should be given to projects where both chargers and supporting solar arrays can be installed. A high level of support for such installations is warranted for the maximum greenhouse gas reduction effect. Electrification of homes and businesses is the second important part of the electrification goal. An average household uses around 450 therms of natural gas per year, resulting in about 3 tons of CO2 emitted into the atmosphere. According to the California Energy Commission, about 87% of natural gas domestic consumption goes toward space and water heating. Eliminating this source of CO2 emissions is critical. A typical home can often be easily converted to net zero energy consumption with the installation of a solar array, the electrification of one primary vehicle, and the installation of heat pump space and water heating. Often, these money-saving measures alone will bring a household in line with the state of California's call for an 80% reduction in CO2 emissions by the year 2050. It is worth noting that under the direction of the Japanese government, that country's manufacturers of ductless heat pumps, also called mini-split heat pumps, have radically improved the efficiency of these heating and cooling units. These new efficient units provide as much as 4 times the heating energy as the electricity energy they consume. This technology provides a cost-competitive substitute for home heating with natural gas. Combined with solar, it goes far to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. While some increased use of air conditioning may occur by users of this technology, this is more than offset by its overall efficiency, as well as reduced dependence on low-efficiency air conditioning units. Incentivizing the adoption of heat pump-style electric water heaters should also be encouraged. This style of water heater does not run on natural gas and is typically twice as efficient as standard electric water heaters. Interestingly, it can also serve as a grid storage battery. In response to automated grid demand, it can be turned off for up to several hours, often without noticeably affecting a household's hot water use and lifestyle. Therefore, this heat pump water heater technology offers 3 important advantages over conventional water heaters. 1. Heat pump water heaters play a key role in the electrification of the energy system by allowing renewable electricity use in place of natural gas. 2. Heat pump water heaters are much more efficient than standard electric water heaters. And 3. By turning off these water heaters during the times of the day of high consumer electricity demand, either with wall timers or through internet controls, they can play a key role in balancing consumer demand for electricity throughout the day. What mechanisms can CCAs like Sonoma Clean Power use to finance household energy-saving measures? An innovative program for implementing energy efficiency measures might be modeled on the successful PAYS program in the town of Windsor in Sonoma County. There, customers in the water district adopt water-saving measures that are paid for in their monthly bills. Consumers save money because payment for the new technology is offset by reduced consumption. A similar scheme for electrical savings has been implemented in some places in the USA. The 3 broad goals outlined here can reduce household CO2 emissions to the state-mandated goals for the years 2030 and 2050. 1. Electrification of vehicles and homes. 2. The growth of CCA and other utility company renewable portfolios. And 3. Incentivizing household and business adoption of energy efficiency and conservation technologies.